Hey, my name is Mark. One of the things that I love to do when I get an opportunity is to walk into an art gallery and see the work of the artists there. I'm amazed at how artists are able to portray or tell a story of their lives using images, And when you look at it and the commentary written under each of the paintings or artworks that they have presented helps to thread and bring together and stitch together all these portraits to form what it is that they're trying to convey. I think about the Christian faith and I see portraits, and something that about that really attracts me to the Christian faith, and I admire that about this faith because it allows for different expressions of the Christian faith. It allows for people of different backgrounds to tell their story, people of different cultures to come in and tell their story of their encounter of this one God who has revealed himself through Jesus Christ. I want to tell you one of the portraits that really strikes a chord with me. There's a story that is told by Jesus, the parable called the Prodigal Son. You probably have heard about it. It's the idea of this boy, this child who grows up in this home, has everything, and then one day, he decides, look, I want to go and explore the world, something that I can really relate with. And to the agony of the dad, the dad says, hey, look, stick around, because in saying that you want to go, you're actually asking for the inheritance, and it's just not your time. But the son was a bit anxious and restless and just really wanted to go. And I think we can all relate to that to a certain extent, except that in that culture, in that time, to start to ask for an inheritance at that time is almost to say, like, I wish you were dead, Dad, so that I can get my share and go away. So there's something quite confronting about that story. But if you don't latch onto that detail, but just think about what's going on here, it's he is so convinced he needs to go. And the dad, as painful as it is, lets the son go to go and encounter the world. The son goes, there's much that happens wherever he is. There's famine, he uses all the money, he runs out of money, and now he starts to, hire himself out. And within no time, it's just an impossible life. And then he has this thought in his mind, I'm here, I'm struggling, and I've come from a home where I had a bed, there was food, I didn't have to experience what I'm experiencing right now. So he decides, I'm gonna try go back home, which is really courageous, which is really humbling. I mean, you can imagine if that's your story of having to go back to people who at one point, you did not live in the best of terms, but you sort of have come to this realization that you need them. And so he makes his way back home, and as he comes, he did not know that the father was actually, almost every day would come out and look at the horizon to see whether the son can ever come back. And on this day was his lucky day. The son was coming home, and he could see the son break the horizon and come in, and the son ran, and the father runs to the son and, embraces him and says, my son was lost and now he's found, restores him, sets up a party and a celebration, gives him this cloak, and he tells him, hey, my son, I'm pleased you're really back and it's a joy for me. I have really been captured by that image because it tells me that the whole idea of the Christian faith is about restoring a broken relationship. And that gives joy to God, that it's the idea that Mark is coming back home, and I want him to know that I've always loved him. Even though he left, I want him to know that it gives me great joy to see him back. Like this home, there's always a room and a bed, and there's always space. There's a seat for him at the table. This is where he belongs. Look, I don't know what you think about the Christian faith, but I'd love for you to think about it. On this portrait that I've painted for you, read Luke 15 and you'll see the story there. It's about restoring a broken relationship. Cheers.